This video is created by Nihar from YouTube. This video is created by Nihar from YouTube. Louis Braille, a story of a blind scientist who invented Braille letters for blind people, or students, documented and narrated by Nihar for public domain. Bust of Louis Braille by Étienne Leroux at the Bibliothèque Nationale de France. Born 4 January 1809, Coupvray, France. 6 January 1852, aged 43, Paris, France. Resting place Pantheon, Paris. Anne Coupvray. Occupation éducateur, inventor. Known for Braille. Parents Monique and Simon René Braille. Louis Braille, Brielle. About this sound listen. French, YB 4 January 1809 6 January 1852, was a French educator and inventor of a system of reading and writing for use by the blind or visually impaired. His system remains virtually unchanged to this day, and is known worldwide simply as Braille. Braille was blinded at the age of 3 in one eye as a result of an accident with a stitching awl in his father's harness-making shop. Consequently, an infection set in and spread to both eyes, resulting in total blindness. 1 At that time there were not many resources in place for the blind, but nevertheless, he excelled in his education and received a scholarship to France's Royal Institute for Blind Youth. While still a student there, he began developing a system of tactile code that could allow blind people to read and write quickly and efficiently. Inspired by the system invented by Charles Barbier, Braille constructed a new method that was more compact and lent itself to a range of uses, including music. He presented his work to his peers for the first time in 1824. In adulthood, Louis Braille served as a professor at the institute and had an avocation as a musician, but he largely spent the remainder of his life refining and extending his system. It went unused by most educators for many years after his death, but posterity has recognized Braille as a revolutionary invention, and it has been adapted for use in languages worldwide. History. The Braille code, where the word premier, French for first, can be read. Braille was based on a tactile military code called night writing, developed by Charles Barbier in response to Napoleon's demand for a means for soldiers to communicate silently at night and without a light source. 4 In Barbier's system, sets of 12 embossed dots encoded 36 different sounds. It proved to be too difficult for soldiers to recognize by touch and was rejected by the military. In 1821, Barbier visited the Royal Institute for the Blind in Paris, where he met Louis Braille. Braille identified two major defects of the code. First, by representing only sounds, the code was unable to render the orthography of the words. Second, the human finger could not encompass the whole 12-dot symbol without moving, and so could not move rapidly from one symbol to another. Braille's solution was to use 6-dot cells and to assign a specific pattern to each letter of the alphabet. 5 At first, Braille was a one-to-one transliteration of French orthography, but soon various abbreviations, contractions, and even logograms were developed, creating a system much more like shorthand. 6 The expanded English system, called Grade 2 Braille, was completed by 1905. For blind readers, Braille is an independent writing system, rather than a code of printed orthography. 7 Writing. Braille. Lucy Sargent, 26-year-old daughter of a Kentucky coal miner, writing with a slate and stylus in 1946. Blind from birth, she attended the Kentucky School for the Blind for 11 years. Braille typewriter. Braille may be produced by hand using a slate and stylus in which each dot is created from the back of the page, writing in mirror image, or it may be produced on a Braille typewriter or Perkins Brailler, or an electronic Brailler or eBrailler. Because Braille letters cannot be effectively erased and written over, if an error is made, an error is overwritten with all 6 dots. Interpoint refers to Braille printing that is offset, so that the paper can be embossed on both sides, with the dots on one side appearing between the divots that form the dots on the other. Using a computer or other electronic device, Braille may be produced with a Braille embosser, printer, or a refreshable Braille display screen. 8. Braille. Braille has been extended to an 8-dot code, particularly for use with Braille embossers and refreshable Braille displays. In 8-dot Braille, the additional dots are added at the bottom of the cell, giving a matrix 4 dots high by 2 dots wide. The additional dots are given the number 7 for the lower left dot and 8 for the lower right dot. 8. Braille has the advantages that the case of an individual letter is directly coded in the cell containing the letter, and that all the printable ASCII characters can be represented in a single cell. All 256, 28 possible combinations of 8 dots are encoded by the Unicode standard. Braille with 6 dots is frequently stored as Braille ASCII. Letters. The first 25 Braille letters, up through the first half of the third decade, transcribe AZ, skipping W. In English Braille, the rest of that decade is rounded out with the ligatures, and, for, of, the, and with. Omitting .3 from these forms the fourth decade, the ligatures ZH, GH, SH, TH, WH, ed, U, OW and the letter W, Braille pattern. 16, Braille pattern. 146, 9, Braille pattern. 1456 CH SH TH.